I am so excited with this morning's special guest that we have. And this is author Michelle Bowden. Now, why I'm so excited is because she's going to talk to us today about something that's really important, and that is persuasion. If we want to be able to do what we feel heart-centered, what we feel called to do, what our intuition calls us to do in life, and to have a real impact, we need to be able to persuade people to take them along with our journey with us. And so Michelle's got some great tips based on some extensive research that she's done. So Michelle Bowden is a certified speaking professional and communication skill coach. Over 23 years, she has delivered a persuasive presentation skills masterclass. So she's delivered that to over 12,000 people, which is mind-boggling. And she's done that for, some incredibly, hugely successful people. And Michelle, I look forward to hearing more about, how impactful your training is and why it's so important. She is the best-selling author of How to Present, the ultimate guide to presenting your ideas and influencing people using techniques that actually work. And today we're going to talk about her newest book, which is called How to Present. Welcome, Michelle.
So great to be here, Serena. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It's just so lovely having you on. So what got you interested in this issue about persuasion, the art of persuasion?
I've been a presentation skills trainer, as you just mentioned, for a long, long time. And I realized very early on in my small business that I wanted to niche within the niche. So I didn't want to just teach presentation skills, which is for many people like stand and deliver, which is what an actor could teach you, how to stand, how to use your gestures, how to do your eye contact, manage your nerves. All of that's important, but I didn't want to just focus on that stuff. I really wanted to talk about how to be a bit more influential in the way that you were communicating your message. And over the years, it evolved into what's called now the Persuasive Presentation Skills Masterclass. So to me, really, presenting and persuasion is more or less the same thing. And in fact, there's an overlap in the two books, How to Present and How to Persuade, because some of the techniques to present are the techniques you need to use when you are persuading. So I think I really became interested because my clients needed it. People who are working in organizations, either in small business like us, or where they're working in really large corporates. When they even communicate in team meetings, they don't just want to update or educate or inform. What they want to do is convince. And so I've really, over the last few decades, focused in on what do I need to know so that I can help them to be as persuasive as possible.
Thank you so much. And for those of you who are joining us, please pop in and say hi if you've got any questions for Michelle. I'm sure you will, because she's got so much fabulous knowledge that she's going to share. Please put them in. Yeah. I'm sure you've had the same experience that I had, that you're sitting in the audience, you're listening to people. It might be pitches. Canberra Innovation Network, for instance, has a First Wednesday Connect where there's a series of about 10 people who deliver these short 60-minute pitches. Yes. Or maybe it's a debating final, or maybe it's something else. And you come away and certain speakers, they just feel more authentic than others. And it's not necessarily the ones you think. It's not necessarily the really flashy ones who've really rehearsed, or the funniest ones. But there's sometimes something about one particular speaker that just you tend to trust or believe them. So what is that they have that the others don't?
That's sincerity, isn't it? Is that what you mean? They give you the vibe.
They give you the vibe. They're giving you that sincerity vibe.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, this. We are all persuaded differently. And what I know from my research is that there are 4 approaches to persuading the people around us. And most of us are strong in 2 of those ways and weaker in 2 of those ways. So the person that resonates most for you might be quite different to the person who resonates most for me or for the next person sitting next to us.
Oh, how fascinating.
I see this a lot because very recently I, for the very first time, hired a team member. Staff. So I've worked by myself as an amazing control freak for decades, right? And stress, I've let go of the reins. And I really needed help with running the online training because thanks to COVID, a lot of my clients now still aren't back in the office. So they've got to do training on Zoom. And I have done it successfully for a year or so, but I'm just too busy and I can't do both the live and the Zoom. So who would you hire if you were going to have someone run Zoom training? Would it be the person who won the Global Outstanding Award for their transition to Zoom? Would it be the person who gets the Professional Speakers Australia Award for their assistance to other speakers on Zoom? Or the person who wins the Professional Speakers Australia Award for his transition to Zoom? 3 awards. There's actually a person who's won all 3 of those awards, and his name's Warwick Merry. And so who else would you choose to bring into your business? And Warwick is what I call a captivating peacock. He's an MC. So he's 6'5". He's a huge personality. He's funny. He's witty. He's very quick on his feet. He's very quick at thinking, and he's got a big singing voice, and so he's larger than life. You can picture, he just sweeps you up with his enthusiasm and passion. So somebody that's going to resonate well with Warwick possibly won't resonate as well with me, because I'm not as flamboyant as that. I'm not as noisy as that. I have a different skill, I suppose, a different strength. Yeah, so isn't that interesting that the people that you love when you're sitting in that audience in Canberra are the ones that resonate with you, because that's the way you are naturally persuaded. That's why it's tweaked with you and you've enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I'm also intrigued that you seem to have very consciously hired someone who is very different from you.
Yes, that's it. So I feel weird calling it hired, because he's awesome.
Partnered.
He's like my friend. Yeah, that's it. So I was very conscious of not doing what's called the clone syndrome and hiring someone who has my personality to run the course. And it's been very humbling for me, because one of my clients, Woolworths, likes him better than me. So yeah, it's a lesson, right, in managing the ego.
But I'm sure you have other clients who still prefer you, and you'll have other new clients as you expand that goes forward.
That's it. Yeah. And I mean, this is the challenge that anyone with a team member has. You want your clients to love anyone that's associated with your business. You want the experience. You're called the joyful frugalista, and I love the word joy. I want all my clients to feel that there's joy in the way that they interact with us. And so I'm not going to be complaining if someone loves him more than me. That's a great thing. Yeah.
So let's talk about love then. So we're talking about persuasion, and you really, if you're able to persuade someone, they really love you, don't they?
Look, it depends, because we're all persuaded differently. So there are some people who need to feel that deep connection, that good sense of goodwill, that rapport with you. Those people we call the friendly budgie. And so someone who is likely to love you is going to be a friendly budgie, or perhaps a captivating peacock, because that's what works for them. They need to, that great saying from Theodore Roosevelt, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So it's really that there are some people who really just need to have that wonderful connection with you first in order to be persuaded by you.
Fabulous. And you've talked about a few different sort of funny kind of names.
Yeah.
So what are these? You've mentioned a few times you've got 4 different types.
There's 4 different types. So the types come from the research that I completed some years back now. What we know is that there's these things called key persuasion indicators, KPIs. And these key persuasion indicators are essentially questions that people have to have addressed in their own mind if they are to be persuaded by you. So the questions are things like, is this message credible? Is this message reliable? Is it backed up by reliable facts and data? Is there external proof and research that I can believe? Then the next set of questions is is this messenger credible? Are they an authority? Are they an expert? Is it someone that I can trust, someone that I can follow? Does this person have the runs on the board and the experience to know best here? So the first set of questions is about the message credibility, and then the second set of questions is about the person's credibility and authority. The third set of questions are things like, does this person care about me? Does this person care about my needs? Do I like this person? Do they care about me? And then the fourth set of questions is this person passionate about their matter? Am I enthused by their motivation and their inspiration and their commitment to their cause? So these are the four sets of questions that we know have to be addressed in the minds of people when they are to be persuaded by you. And to a greater and lesser extent, we're influenced by certain sets of those questions more than others, depending on who we are and our own personality. So what I realized was that really we can come up with four types based on those four sets of questions. So, and we did that. And then with a team of statisticians and psychologists in the UK. And then what I realized was that there are so many psych tests around, aren't there, honestly? And it's just like, MBTI, DISC, LSD, no, that's drugs.
And the old-fashioned ones.
That's it. There's so many of these things around. And you know what? I see this in the corporate world. People are tired with psychometric testing. And I just thought if it was too theoretical and complicated, because it's based on quite robust research, all this stuff, if it's just all too theoretical and not practical enough, not fun, then maybe people can't be bothered to remember the theory and then apply it in their life. So hilariously, there are 4 birds whose characteristics perfectly map to the characteristics of each of the 4 types. So if you think about that first set of questions is about the message credibility, that's the wise owl. Then the second set of questions is about the person's credibility or authority. We call that the commanding eagle. The third set of questions is all about how much you care and have that rapport and connection. So that's the friendly budgie. And then the fourth set of questions is all about how enthusiastic and passionate the person is about their matter. And that's the captivating peacock. So can you see, I mean, it's funny, right? That the birds, if you think about those birds, that's exactly what each of those 4 types is really,
And as a Serena bird myself, I love the bird analogy. And I love the real joy that goes through this. This is really fascinating.
Yeah.
So we've got these sort of 4 personality types, or at least when we're talking about the way that people like to be influenced.
That's it.
And so what does that mean when you are trying to influence other people?
That is such a great question. Thank you so much for asking it. So we all have, to a greater and lesser degree, a predisposition towards 1 to probably 3 of those types. So you won't be a peacock or a budgie. You'll probably be a combination of a variety of them. And you'll probably also have a least preferred type. Now, the hilarious thing, of course, is that we are not trying to persuade ourselves when we're in business or even at home. We're trying to persuade the other person. So it's not going to work to use the approach that would work on you necessarily. And that's what most people do. So let's say you happen to be a wise owl and a friendly budgie as your top 2 strengths, then you will tend to use message credibility and friendliness to win over your stakeholder. And if they are also an owl and a budgie, then that's going to work. You probably won't even know that you were in a persuasive moment when you were talking to that person because you just did whatever came naturally to you. If, on the other hand,
how would that approach look, for instance?
So you might give lots of
figures,
facts and data. That's it. So you've got lots of testimonials and things to back up your argument. You've got external proof. And then you've also smiling, laughing, calling the person by their name, being generous in your spirit towards them, listening when they talk to you, and then responding in a functional, likable way, a warm, caring way. And so the person will love that. That was their type too.
And that sounds all good.
Yeah, that's amazing. But if the stakeholder is for example, eagle and a peacock, using your owl and budgie approach is not going to work at all. And that's why sometimes when someone has just a super idea And it's really an awesome idea. Everyone tells them it's just a great idea, and they still don't get funding, or they still can't sell it to someone. It's because they are using the approach that would work on them instead of the approach that needs to be used for that stakeholder. We need to, number one, these are the steps really. Number one, you've got to know yourself. So I created a psychometric assessment that people can do online to work out where you're strong and where you're weak. So that solves that problem. Then step two is to be able to pick it in someone else. And I really think the birds helps you do that, because it's just so much more obvious when you connect it to the characteristics of the birds. So step two is be able to pick it in the other person. Step three is set about having a growth mindset, which is so what this podcast, Facebook Live, is about. A
Very
growth
much so.
mindset where you 1% every day slowly build your persuasive muscle. You slowly pull in a variety of the actions from all the 4 types of birds, so that slowly but surely you just become very persuasive across all types. And then step 4 is, of course, you need to then flex or adapt your approach to do whatever the person needs. What do they need? Give it to them. Yes. Have I answered your question, do you think?
I think so, but I actually want to interject here to say that we have someone who's provided some comments.
Oh,
so
great.
Leanne Wakeling says that she self-identifies as a peacock
Yeah.
with a bit of budgie and eagle.
A
But
bit
she
of
says
budgie and eagle. Yeah.
but my message credibility as an owl, which is interesting.
So if you need to develop your, is it Leanne that Serena
Yes.
that said that? So Leanne, if you need to develop your owl, so there's a couple of ways to go about this. You can either say, right, well, I'm a peacock, so I want to know what are the 10 main actions that peacocks do, and just see if there's a tiny gap in that peacock strength that you've got, just so that you can build your peacock capability even more and be an amazing peacock. Or you can say, owl is not my strength. That's my least preferred of the 4. So what are the 10 actions that an owl does? And slowly but surely start pulling those behaviors in so that they're your habits. And owls are things like how to structure the message so that it's logical and reliable. And there, do you know what, just to fully bamboozle you and blow your bananas, there are 13 linguistic patterns in the creation of a logical message. So, you know,
Wow.
some of the stuff, yeah, it's massive. So some of the things are huge like that would make people think, oh my God, it's all too hard and I can't be bothered. And some of the things are simple little things. Like, for example, if you want to be a better owl, Leanne, one of the great things you can do right now to get stronger in your owl capability is use rhetorical questions when you're pitching or presenting. You know that a rhetorical question is a question that you ask and then answer straight away. So you give a micro pause after you've asked it and then you answer it yourself. Questions like, why is this important? How will this solve well, what is your issue? How will this solve your problems? How can I ensure you that this is going to work? What is my background? Any of those kind of questions. What rhetorical questions do is they signpost your content, not just for you so that you're flowing logically in your message. It actually signposts the content for the listener so that that stakeholder can stay with you as you're pitching your message. And there's a really amazing model that's best practice internationally called Format for structuring a message, where you cover 4 questions: why, then what, then how, then what if. And if you used each of those 4 questions, why, then what, then how, then what if, as your rhetorical question that you ask and then answer, do you see that your stakeholder will find that message to be very logical, well structured, and therefore very believable? And then automatically you're more of an owl than you were yesterday.
Wow, that
Cool.
is just
Very
amazing.
cool.
And so different from the traditional kind of narrow pitch kind of format that I've often seen people talk about.
Well, my best-selling book, How to Present, is how to pitch, right? It's how to write the argument that wins the pitch. That's a presentation skills thing. This is kind of like the depth underneath that surface level, how to structure the message. Yeah.
Thank you. So we've had some more comments.
Great.
Michelle, I have to go back to see some. I've missed some. Have gone down. But Leanne said, thank you. She's also noted that she's an eDisc profiler. And she's also suggested that when educating and working with children, or particularly parenting, that some of these techniques could be useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my kids are all grown up. I have a 23-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 17-year-old, all 3 daughters. And I know exactly what their preferences are when it comes to persuading them to do things for me.
You've got a hidden advantage there in the parenting.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, any kind of awareness, isn't it, about yourself and others has surely got to be a good thing. I'm sure that's what Leanne means when she says that. Yeah.
Thank you. And Sue Wald also noted that she can see how important this would be in education, noting that in education particularly, there's a focus on structuring to all learning types.
That's it. So the format model that I just mentioned, which goes why, then what, then how, then what if, has started being taught to teachers so that they can structure their lessons in primary school classes for their students, which I just think is so terrific, because I've been teaching this for nearly 25 years, and corporates know this model, but often they'll say to me, oh, wouldn't it have been good if our teacher or my uni lecturer knew about this model, because it really would have made, if you knew, the famous Simon Sinek book, Start with the Why, I think he's ripped that off from Bernice McCarthy's format model, which does start with the why, and it was invented in the 1960s. So I think Simon Sinek's kind of done a clever entrepreneurial rip-off with that, to be quite honest with you. But the point is that if you don't have the why to start with, then why would anyone listen to you? So yes, absolutely, in school, really important.
Fabulous. And we have a question now about applying for funding. So Nicole Safford has said, what would be the default if you're applying for funding and you don't get to be face-to-face with people assessing your requests? Example, grant funding. Does the funding questions have a delegated bird?
Yeah, isn't that so interesting? So how long have we got?
I think I'm going to have to have you back as a guest, because you've just got so much wisdom to share.
So, firstly, I'll say that any kind of written response follows exactly the same logic as any kind of spoken response, whether that be online like this or a live pitch to real people in a room. So that's the first thing, is that the models are all the same, whether you're on the phone, live, on Zoom, or writing, and including your emails as well. So if you're writing an email to someone, you can follow a lot of the persuasion tips, like even the rhetorical questions that I just mentioned to Leanne. In an email, it's really important, actually, if your email's fairly long, to have those rhetorical questions bolded and underlined in the email so that they directionalize the thinking of the audience as they read down. And what everyone knows who's listening to this is that people don't read the copy underneath the heading, they read the heading. So if your headings are good, then they'll read the copy underneath, which is what we're wanting to do. We don't write it so no one reads it, right? So I think the question that is it Sue that asked that question? Is there a predominant bird? It depends who's assessing the application, and you would never know that, would you? Whether they were an owl or an eagle or something like that. So my approach here is, there are obvious persuasive moments like writing a pitch, or convincing your partner to go on a holiday to the location you want, or going to your boss and asking for a pay rise. They are obvious persuasion moments. And then there are 100 persuasive moments in a day that just pass you by without you even noticing that they happened. And so whilst I'm very excited about helping people for the big multi-million-dollar pitches, because I run a company that does that, I'm also quite excited about the idea of just building your persuasive muscle and your persuasive capabilities, so that even when you don't realize you're persuading, you're still successful in those moments. So the more of those behaviors that you can pull in for all four birds, then the more consistently persuasive you'll be, especially when in Sue's situation, she doesn't know who's reading that application. So if she can have a logical structure to the way she puts the message together, if she can show the credibility of her organization, to show that there's testimonials and social proof that Sue's the guru of this. If she also has the sense of joy and gorgeousness in her pitch document, just in case it's a budgie reading it, and maybe there's a flourish of her personality or something like that, or maybe she can use a bit more expressive words in the way that she articulates her solution, then that will help the peacock to get enrolled in what she's saying. So really my answer is, which is a huge answer to the question, the more you can do all of it, then the safer you'll be, because you just don't know who's going to be reading that application.
Thank you. And you never know who's watching and you never know who you're interacting with. One of the
Mm.
things I'm really big on, and I talk about this in my second book, The Joyful Startup Guide, is that any occasion is a networking event. You might be just at
Oh,
a
yes,
Christmas lunch with family. And
that's
if
it.
someone says, how's business? And you go, oh, yeah, not really good. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
It's very
Absolutely.
different from it's going really well. I'm really excited about this. I'm really passionate about this. And
That's
you may
it.
not be consciously selling, but you
No,
never know because
that's
you're
it.
interacting with others.
That's it. There's a very famous saying, you cannot not influence. And so what that means is we are always influencing, even when we don't realize, from the way you sit in your chair, to the way you greet someone in the morning, to the way you show up on Zoom, to the way you participate in a meeting. We're always influencing. And so, yeah, I just think the more you can try and do all of these things and just make them habits so it's not clunky and exhausting, then the better. And as I said, some of those 10 things are huge, 13 linguistic patterns, boom. But some of these things are really simple, like direct connected eye contact, smile more, laugh more, use numbers, not dot points when you have a list. Like so many little, don't say but, don't say however, do say actually, do say because. Don't say for those of you who don't know me in a pitch. Don't say, please don't hesitate to contact me. Instead, say, please reach out. A friendly
That's a good
budgie would
one.
say, please contact me. A peacock would say, I really want to work with you. Please work with me. Please choose me. And I do this. I'm a living example of this. If someone calls me to get a quote for a training course, I say to them, whether it's on the email or whether it's live on the Zoom or the phone or whatever, I say, I would really love to partner with you in this opportunity. Please choose me for this very important development initiative. Please choose me. It's what we call a call to action. And it's one of the main mistakes people make when they're persuading. They forget to ask for the thing that they want. They assume
One,
this is a
isn't it?
pitching session. Of course, everybody knows I want their funding, or of course, everybody knows I want their business. But no, as a very wise family therapist once said to me, people can't read your mind. So if you don't tell people exactly what you want from them, how are they supposed to say yes or no to that?
And you do want to partner or work with people who really like you. They really
Yeah.
want to work with you. If someone's like, oh, I don't know, and I think there's this tendency to think that in negotiating you hold things close to your chest. Like, if you're
Oh,
looking for
yeah.
property, for instance, oh, I'm canvassing a number of different options. I'm sending out, I'm applying for a lot of different things. And
Yeah.
what you've just said is so important. Saying, no, please pick me. I
That's
want
it.
this.
Please choose me. 100 years ago, I remember working with a recruitment company, and their main competitor was this big American firm. And the Americans would go into their pitch and they'd say, we really love your business and we really want to work with you. Please choose us because we will do everything we can to exceed your expectations. And the Australians would turn up in their fancy suits with their matching compendiums, and they'd do their fancy, very professional, unemotional pitches, and then they'd walk out without even asking for the business. And they came to me and they said, why is it that we're losing all this business to the Americans? I just went, there. People can't read your mind, right?
Fabulous. So we've got a few more comments, and then unfortunately I'm going to let you go. But Michelle, I think we're going to have you back. Sue said, wow, just gold. And I think that really just says it all. Leanne says, it's same in selling houses. People think others can see how to use space, most can't. And Karen Headley said, I wish I hadn't missed the start. This is fascinating. Karen, you're going to have to come back and watch this again. Karen's recently been successful in a funding round. But Karen, as your business grows, no doubt you'll be wanting to get more or actually she was successful in the grant round, I should say, but at the end of this program or the end of the year, I think sometimes there's opportunities for investing funding. So Karen, you might want to come back as you prepare for that. And Leanne said Americans are so much better at self-promotion.
Yeah. And, it's not correct to have a cultural bias like that, really, is it? But the thing is that we associate that peacock characteristics with that American kind of personality. And all the four birds have a downside as well as an upside. So, of course, the peacock can be a bit in your face. The budgie can be a little bit of a doormat, because they care so much about other people, they forget about their own needs. The eagle can seem very egotistical. if it's too commanding and too authoritative, and the owl can just seem boring. So they're all got their negative sides that we need to just be aware of and just make sure that we balance that out.
Fabulous. Well, Michelle, I'm going to leave you now to be mindful of everyone's time, but this is not because I'm not enjoying this, because as you can tell, the community who is listening to it now, and there'll be others who are listening to it later, can tell just how important this advice is. I would actually like to invite you back specifically to talk about pitching, because I think this is just such an important skill, and one where women don't always do as well.
Can I just say that, just a quick final word about that, women don't do it as well. So my opinion about that is you need to build your commanding eagle, and you need to learn the skill of talking about yourself in a way that doesn't sound like you're a wanker. So you've got to be able to boast without boasting. You've got to be able to sell yourself without seeming like you're overstepping that line of what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. And the women who can do that are good at pitching. So I don't think it's necessarily about man, woman. It's more that women who are pitching haven't built that eagle capability into their set of habits. And there are so many simple things, like there's a credibility formula you can use to talk about yourself without boasting, and it's a one-line sentence. So really do some research and try and work out what are those 10 behaviors that an eagle does, and build those in, and then you'll find that you do win more pitches.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And there's more comments coming in, so do check them out in the Facebook group. The last one said, "Brilliant!" exclamation mark.
That's my whistle. I need a whistle. I've got a whistle ready.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for that. And I look forward, I'll schedule a time to have you back again. So thank you so much. It's been an
utter joy. I've loved chatting with you. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for your comments.